Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Jakku to Yancey Street and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller, chewing on something. But so I'm gonna vamp a little bit so he can swallow it before he responds to my question. What's up, Steve?
Just got in from ski practice, and boy, am I needing dinner. So here we are.
You're like, yeah, okay. Nice. How was skiing?
Wonderful.
Chewing again.
This was a mistake in hindsight. In 4 years, I don't believe I've just taken a bite of food on the podcast when I shouldn't have. So here we are. We're having firsts.
I think you're right. I think crazy enough, I think I'm probably more guilty of that than you, even though I'm the one that talks way more than you. Or
happens.
Most, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, this podcast, sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, 2 locations, Cicero, which has been going along swimmingly, but also Camillus, which
might be too soon on this swimmingly, Mike.
Swimmingly in a different way, as we talked about last week. They had a water main break, had a lot of water damage. However, I did see Jesse post on Instagram, I think today, that they are shooting for, maybe it was yesterday, they're shooting for a Wednesday reopening.
So tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're watching this live.
Tomorrow.
Today, if you're listening to it in your ear holes.
That's right. Perfect time for them to reopen for New Comic Book Wednesday. So don't just take my word for it. I would check your socials, make sure that they are open before you head down there tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. Tonight's Tuesday. Steve, it's a rare Tuesday night episode for you and me. We are Sunday, Monday people.
Normally, we are. We had to stretch a little.
Tuesday this week for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some out of our control, some very much in our control.
And weirdly, like the 2 days we missed, I still ended up seeing you. So
yes, that's correct. Yep. Still spent quite a good amount of time with you actually all weekend, I'd say. So lucky me. So yeah, we got a bunch of, it's still, we're in January. There's not a whole lot of news happening. There was some, James Gunn responded to some people on Threads saying they haven't started casting Wonder Woman or Batman for the DCU yet, and who knows when they're going to show up and things like that. And this person may or may not be in Avengers Doomsday. Like, okay, great. I guess we'll just tell us when they are, I guess.
Let us know when you have something remotely definitive. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. So there's not a ton of stories. The biggest story by far, is something that has been rumored for a long time, has been being talked about for a long time, has been thrown out at times when it's not happening at all by people who want it to happen. And I guess those people probably had a pretty good week, but, for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. Stop vamping, Mike. Get right to it. Kathleen Kennedy has officially stepped down as the head of Lucasfilm Limited. Kathleen Kennedy, most successful producer of all time, was asked to run Lucasfilm by George Lucas himself, handpicked by Mr. George Lucas when he sold the company to Disney, 2012. And she is being replaced by Lucasfilm veterans Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Brennan. Now, Dave Filoni is kind of a no-brainer, and he's a name that we have heard for a long time that would be part of a duo stepping in to replace Kennedy. Lin-Manuel Brennan is a newer name. I feel like the last time we talked about this, it was Carrie Beck, I think was the name that we had been hearing.
Sent around, yeah.
That was going to be stepping in to help Dave Filoni, but not the case. It's going to be this Lin-Manuel Brennan. Filoni is going to be handling more of the creative side of things, whereas Brennan is going to be more on the business side of things. Kathleen Kennedy said the transition has been talked about for at least 2 years, and they had to give it a good amount of time before she could officially step down. she gave a big in-depth interview with Deadline this week that we're going to kind of hit some points of right now that may shed some light on the future of the Star Wars universe. But she also, one of the reasons she said it took about 2 years is that, Dave Filoni, who has been with Lucasfilm forever, big name behind a lot of the television side of Star Wars, including Clone Wars and Rebels. He created the character of Ahsoka Tano.
Handpicked by Lucas to head the animation studio.
Yep, worked directly with George Lucas. That's how he got his foot in the door, and has just risen through the ranks. And now he is I guess I don't know what his actual
title is President and Chief Creative Officer.
President and Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm.
Brennan is listed as co-president of Lucasfilm.
Okay.
So in their bios on the actual site, she's responsible for overseeing Lucasfilm, ILM, and Skywalker Sound. Development and execution of Lucasfilm's business strategy, implementation of the company vision. So basically, it seems like she's the president and he's the CCO.
Yeah.
Like he's the idea guy. Kind of she's the actually make sure shit runs person.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He's the James Gunn and she's the Peter Safran.
Yeah.
You want another nerdy insider corporate analogy.
Yep.
But part of the reason, like I was saying, part of the reason that the transition took so long is that Dave Filoni really only familiar with the television side of things. And when it comes to directing stuff, live action, I think he only really did a couple Mandalorian episodes, right?
I think so.
And Ahsoka, his Ahsoka series, I think he directed a lot of those episodes, if I do remember correctly. But he had never directed a feature film. So Kathleen Kennedy wanted to give him the opportunity. I guess he did a lot of shadowing and working with Jon Favreau when Jon Favreau was filming Mandalorian and Grogu to try to get Filoni up to speed on the producing a film versus producing television, which is very different. Kathleen Kennedy has obviously experience in both of those realms. Filoni did not. So it was a long, drawn-out transition to help ensure that they would be left in good hands. And so a lot of misogynists who like to blame Kathleen Kennedy for the Star Wars they don't like and love to give her no credit for the Star Wars that they do like.
Yep.
We're very happy that she was finally stepping down as head of Lucasfilm.
And that's not to say everything was sun and roses under Kathleen Kennedy, but like the outcry is drastically over exaggerated from what is deserved or what we believe to be deserved.
Yeah. You can't blame her for Rise of Skywalker and then not give her credit for Andor
or Rogue One.
Like
even
or Rogue One.
Yes, they fumbled the director stuff or whatever they did turned into an awesome movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people love Last Jedi, a lot of people hate Last Jedi, but like love it or hate it, she produced that movie, so her name's on it just as it's on Force Awakens, just as it's on Mandalorian, just as it's on Skeleton Crew or Rebels, or whatever, the last season of, maybe not Rebels, but the last season of Clone Wars or whatever. Like, she did all of it. And people saying like, well, Tony Gilroy did Andor, she didn't. No, she brought in Tony Gilroy and she produced that show just like she produced anything else. So your argument is moot. It makes no sense. Got to give her credit for everything, just like you got to give George Lucas credit for everything. And not everything George Lucas did with Star Wars is an A+, in my opinion, either. So
would concur.
Also
with Filoni, for people who, if you're listening to this and somehow aren't familiar with Filoni, you may have also, he cut his teeth on Avatar: The Last Airbender. He directed, I think, 8 episodes of the first season of that. As well as did some of the story and art stuff.
Yeah, he's a real animation guy at the beginning.
Yep.
Segued into live action, now is segueing into everything going on at Lucasfilm.
Oh, King of the Hill too.
Also, by the way, like
he was in the animation department for King of the Hill. I didn't know that.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's great.
I heard this kind of said on a different podcast, but I think it's worth reiterating while we're talking about how people like to blame Kathleen Kennedy for Star Wars that they don't like. Um, I am of the opinion, you could argue that, Steve, you and I would not be talking about Star Wars right now if it wasn't for Kathleen Kennedy.
No, we wouldn't be.
When Lucas sold Lucasfilm, George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012, Star Wars was like, it was nowhere. Nobody, like prequel fans, be mad at me all you want. Historically, those movies were not received well. They just weren't.
No.
They were not received well. Revisionist history all you want. That's a fact. They were negatively reviewed and received by both fans and critics at the time. Star Wars was like not a hot property at that time. He sells it to Disney. She takes over. Everything that has happened since the prequels has been under Kathleen Kennedy. And that goes for movies, it goes for TV, it goes for video games, it goes for books, it goes for comics, and it goes for the theme parks. It goes for Star Wars Land in Florida and California. Like, all that stuff happened under her reign at Lucasfilm. So
yeah, she's produced 5 of the 50 highest grossing movies in film history. Not
to mention her non-Star Wars producing.
Well, have you ever heard of these movies?
I feel like we do this every time we bring up Kathleen Kennedy, but I feel like it's worth doing it. So, Steve, hit me with the movies that she has produced. If anyone is still listening that doesn't believe that Kathleen Kennedy is the most successful producer of all time, hit me, Steve.
So, you may have heard of this movie from 1982 called E.T., the Extraterrestrial.
I think I have heard of that.
That was her. Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, Arachnophobia. Hook.
Cult classic.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I believe
an okay movie.
The Back to the Future trilogy. I believe maybe all of the Indiana Jones films franchise as well.
She was EP on those, not an associate producer on the to Spielberg on the indie stuff. So, she technically wasn't the producer. She just worked closely with arguably the greatest director of all time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. She was an associate producer on Raiders, Temple of Doom, and Last Crusade. So all the good ones.
Right.
And close to my heart.
I like Dial of Destiny quite a bit.
It brought the needle back. Yeah.
It did. Not all the way, but enough.
Close to my heart too. She was a co-executive producer on The Land Before Time.
There you go.
Because I think I saw that more time, or I've probably seen that movie more than any other movie in history, just because it was on repeat as a child.
Sure. Childhood classic.
Oh, right. Schindler's List too. I don't know if that was an okay movie.
I threw that out there, I think,
Yeah.
Anyway, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't care if you don't like her.
No.
Her career speaks for itself. And like I said, she gave this big in-depth, they called it the exit interview with Deadline this past week. And everything we're going to talk about from here on out is relative to her work with Star Wars. I just thought this was cool to say that the interviewer asked her what her highs and lows, what were her highs and lows of working with the Star Wars brand on such a high value IP. And she said, well, the highs include realizing how many people love Star Wars. We had walked in a moment when there hadn't been any movies for 10 years or more, but there was still the memory of the greatest series of movies in cinema history. So you're walking into something that has enormous expectations. Yet at the same time, what you've got to do is find new characters, and you have to expand the galaxy, and you need to think about who the audience is. That's what I feel like I did. And that's what I feel all the people that I've worked with over the last decade did. The highs include bringing in a new audience. I think we did find new characters, and we continue to find new characters. And she said more than that. I agree. For more, I don't necessarily love everything that Disney has done with Star Wars, but I feel like I like more of it than a lot of people that like to yell about it on the internet do, clearly.
Yeah.
And I think it's an impossible job, really. Like, anybody that took that job from Lucas was going to get flack, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's fortunate that we got somebody with so much experience like Kathleen Kennedy. And, I think it's a point that I kind of want to dig into a little bit more later. But anybody that took that job
it's
was
it's
walking
very
into a room full of knives.
Yeah, it's very much it's kind of the sports analogy where, like, here in Syracuse, Jim Boeheim, 30, 40, however the hell long he coached the Syracuse basketball team, retires. Whoever the guy after him, currently Adrian Autry, is going to be lambasted by whoever. Like, the guy after the guy is never going to be, welcomed with open arms by everybody under the sun.
Yes, exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah, it's, Kathleen Kennedy was walking into, like you said, a complete room full of knives.
Yeah, and
did great with it.
And did great with it, exactly, and gave us everything that you and I just mentioned that's come under the umbrella of Disney Star Wars. Yeah, I think she did a pretty tremendous amount of work on the Star Wars brand. She goes on to say the lows are that you've got a very, very small percentage of the fan base that has an enormous expectations, and basically they want to continue to see pretty much the same thing. And if you're not going to do that, then going in that you're going to disappoint them. I'm not sure there's anything you can do about that because you can't please everybody. All you can do is try to tell good stories and try to stick with the essence of what George created. I wouldn't change anything that we've done over the years.
I would change the race scene in Book of Boba Fett, but other than that, everything else was phenomenal.
I feel like she could have been way. This is like classy. It's a classy way for her to say this, to acknowledge the toxicity of the fan base without being like, yeah, there's a bunch of fucking assholes that yell at you, no matter what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is true.
It's
true. She did. I didn't write this down, but the one thing that bugged me about this interview is a thing that she said before that has really bugged me. Where, she says, like, she just said right there, I wouldn't change anything we've done over the years. But then later in the interview, the interviewer asked her if she has any regrets. And the one thing she brings up is recasting Han Solo with Alden Ehrenreich.
What?
And saying like that, saying that like it was too soon or whatever to do a young Han Solo, and we should have waited on that. It wasn't the right time for that or something. And he was great, and he's a great actor, and he did a great job. But like the movie wasn't well received because it wasn't a right time to recast Han Solo. And I'm like,
it wasn't the right time to release the movie 4 months after Last Jedi and directly in between Doomsday and Deadpool. Like,
I think you meant Endgame and Deadpool.
Endgame and Deadpool. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm actually reading your rundown, Mike. You should be proud of me.
I appreciate it.
I'm not going to be surprised by it this time.
Yeah. Anyway, that bugged me because, like, shut up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like
Alden
that movie.
Ehrenreich.
I think Solo's great. And maybe you could have marketed it better, or maybe you could have done a better job to get people excited about it, or I don't know. Or maybe she's right. Maybe it wasn't the right time because a lot of people didn't love that movie, but I don't know.
Right.
I think it's great.
I mean, it may have not been physically the right time. Release it in December like the rest of the damn movies you just released. So we're not overloaded with you know what I think it was partly, or at least I did at the time. I don't know if I actually thought about it, if I changed my mind, but that they were trying to test whether or not they could kind of Marvelify it. And
for sure, that was their goal.
If that tightness was like too tight, and they found out, it was.
Yes, that was absolutely their goal. But like you said, they didn't. They weren't able to like make the changes in real time that they needed to make in order to give themselves room for success.
Right.
They're like, no, it's got to come out in May. No, it can come out in December and give Ron Howard more time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a conversation we've had a million times probably on this
I
podcast.
would assume if you go back to the however the hell many episodes of this we've done, probably.
You could probably find it. We'll have an intern do it sometime and put together a compilation of the times we've said all the same things about Solo.
Are we going to have to wait
Star
till
Wars
our sons get old enough so that we have them as interns?
Yeah, I guess so. So as far as where we are, where Star Wars is, and where Star Wars is going, she had some interesting things to say. I saw this kind of blow up before I just read this interview in full today. I saw this kind of clipped out and posted everywhere when the original interview dropped. She's talking about directors that she has talked to about Star Wars, and she said, I've had early conversations with David Fincher, with Vince Gilligan for TV. I've sat down with Alex Garland and others where the minute you say their name, you go, oh, that might be an interesting Star Wars. But not everybody is just going to go, oh, yeah, great. I'm going to drop everything and spend the next 3 to 5 years trying to figure this out. So I mean, she dropped some big names in this quote, David Fincher being one of them, Vince Gilligan, the guy that did Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And Alex Garland, who's made some tremendous films as well. His Civil War movie recently came out. Also made what's the one I really love with Natalie Portman?
Annihilation?
Annihilation, that's what it was. I could only think of Abomination. I knew that wasn't it.
He was the 28 series too, right?
I didn't think he did the 28 series. Am I wrong?
No, he did. 28,
really?
yeah. 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28
shit.
years later.
I didn't realize that. Okay. So I saw a lot of people like freaking out that she talked to David Fincher. And I mean, I've heard that she's talked to David Fincher before. She offered David Fincher Force Awakens when that was happening. And he said no because he wanted final cut. And she couldn't give him she couldn't give him complete creative control. She's like,
right,
we have to kind of like, rein it in a little. We can't let you do anything because there's a canon and there's things we want to do or whatever. So, so I don't know if she's saying like she recently. Sorry, go ahead.
Can we get a standalone David Fincher film about whatever he wants in Star Wars?
Right.
Like, I'm just give him the reins, like roll.
Absolutely. I would love that. I think people are right to be excited to hear David Fincher's name associated with Star Wars, but I just don't know. I don't think you can tell from this interview, from the way she says that, if she's talking about, oh yeah, once 10 years ago, I talked to David Fincher. He was interested in doing a Star Wars. I don't know that it means she just talked yesterday to David Fincher about doing a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like people were kind of taking it that way. She could have talked to Alex Garland 5 years ago and nothing ever came of it, because she ends this quote by saying they don't necessarily want to drop everything that they're doing and spend 5 years working on a Star Wars movie. Because Star Wars movies take a long time to make, as we know from the announcements we've heard years ago, and with movies have not materialized yet. So like, I'm excited about that quote too. Vince Gilligan is a great showrunner, and if he wanted to do a Star Wars show, I think that would be really cool. But you never know. Just because she's throwing these names out, it doesn't mean that they're working on a deal with Vince Gilligan for the next whatever Star Wars prestige series or whatever.
Right. He's busy with Pluribus at present.
Pluribus. Exactly. So she talked a little about Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter, Ryan Gosling vehicle. And the interviewer asked her if this was the launch of like a new series, and she said it was envisioned as a single film, which is something we have known before. Sean Levy just made the experience so pleasant for everybody, and we found this 14-year-old kid out of Ireland who had virtually no experience. That's always risky, hanging a story so much on a child actor. You're not exactly sure how comfortable they're going to be. Flynn Gray turned out to be such a special kid. Not only was he there with Ryan Gosling, this movie is structured in a way that he had kind of a new actor coming in every few weeks that he was one-on-one with. Matt Smith, Amy Adams, Aaron Pierre. And each one, it was so great to watch him because he would just get so excited by the actors he got to work with. I thought that was interesting, the way she describes the structure of the film as being kind of like, I don't know, like The Hobbit almost, where like you're on a journey and you run into one thing, you figure that out, you get past it, and then you go and then you run into the next thing, and then you run into the trolls, you escape the trolls, then you run into the goblins, then you escape the goblins, you run into the wolves, you escape the wolves, like that kind of thing,
Somewhere along the way, you got really, really high and ended up with Tom Bombadil, and then went on your merry way.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that doesn't really give us a ton, but she also talks about this kid as if it's, it's, and I guess I thought we knew this, but we always say Ryan Gosling is the star of this movie because he's the bigger star, but it seems like maybe it is a full two-hander between Gosling and Gray, or maybe part of it is his story alone. You know, maybe there is some parts of it where it's just him. She's saying, you know, hanging so much of the story on a child actor. So, you know, it may be just as much his movie as it is Gosling's. Who knows? Who knows? Now, the thing I was very excited about with this interview, you know, she can't not give an exit interview without being asked about where we are with things that have been announced and not materialized, right? And so the guy asked her, what's going on? Where are we? And she said, I have to tread lightly here because she can't give too much away, obviously. But she said, James Mangold and Beau Willimon wrote an incredible script. She's referencing the announced Origin Dawn of the Jedi was like the working title or the press release.
The one that I was the most excited for.
Yes, Origin of the Force, Origin of the Jedi Order. Jim Mangold and Beau Willimon wrote an incredible script, but is definitely breaking the mold, and it's on hold. Whoa. Taika Waititi has turned in a script that I think is hilarious and great. It's just not my decision, especially when I've got one foot out the door. Donald Glover has turned in a script. And as you have read, Steven Soderbergh and Adam Driver turned in a script written by Scott Burns. It was just great. Anything's a possibility if somebody's willing to take a risk. And after that, she talked about how a lot of studios are risk averse nowadays because they don't want to, you know, they have to, you know, they have to make their stock go up instead of just making good movies, which she doesn't fully agree should be the focus. But she said, unfortunately, Mangold's Origin of the Force movie, Mangold's is really on the back burner, as is Soderbergh's. We knew the Hunt for Ben Solo, the Soderbergh movie. It wasn't happening. We knew that. But she says, I think the ones by Taika and Donald are still somewhat alive. That's going to really be up to the new team to figure out. Everything I just reeled off to you is taking a bit of a chance because none of those filmmakers are just walking in and trying to do the same old, same old. I'm excited by that, but the studio's nervous about that. And that's kind of where it sits at the moment. So that is a bummer. And it's surprising to me that James Mangold's movie is on the back burner because, as we've talked about before, whether, you know, we know he was announced at similar times, he was announced that he was working on a Star Wars movie, and he's announced he's working on a DCU movie. He's working on Swamp Thing for DCU. And you and I have talked for a while about how it seems he's probably not going to do both of these movies.
Right.
Or at least not at the same time. Like, you know, one's going to have to be put on the back burner. Does this mean that Star Wars is on the back burner and he's going to make the Swamp Thing movie next? Or does this mean that the studio just doesn't love the Origin of the Force script? As she says, it's bold and breaks the mold.
Yeah, which makes me excited. But apparently it makes the studio nervous, which...
Well, we know.
Yeah.
We know the studio gets nervous because we saw The Last Jedi and we saw what they followed it up with, Rise of Skywalker. So we know what happens when the studio gets nervous.
Yeah, the pendulum just swings back to, I'm going to put out the same... You know what happens when the studio gets nervous? The Transformers series.
Right.
Like...
Yeah, just a bunch of slop.
Yeah. The Jurassic Park series, for that matter.
Sure. Yeah.
I haven't seen the new one. I cannot... I will... If the new one is remotely good, I rescind at least my criticism of that movie, but there's one good movie in that franchise.
I agree with you. Excited to hear that the Donald Glover Lando movie is still happening. But like she said, it's up to the new team right now. She said she would still be... She doesn't know how involved she will be with any of these projects should they continue to move forward. I mean, her name is going to be on them in some way. She helped develop all of them. Not sure how hands-on she will be in a producer role. She says it's possible that she'll be asked to work more kind of hands-on with some of these, but who knows? We'll come back to that in a little bit. She was asked about the Rian Johnson trilogy that they announced before The Last Jedi even came out, I think they announced that he was going to do a trilogy, and then we heard nothing about it after The Last Jedi split the fandom down the center. And she had this to say about Rian Johnson. I do believe he got spooked by the online negativity. I think Rian made one of the best Star Wars movies. He's a brilliant filmmaker, and he got spooked. This is the rough part. When people come into this space, I have every filmmaker and actor say to me, what's going to happen? They're all a little scared. And it should be noted that Rian Johnson responded to this quote on social media by saying, LOL, not spooked. Sorry.
Yeah. And everything he's said has been in that vein of like, I really would make those movies because I had no problem with that.
I don't believe for 1 second that he got spooked by the online negativity surrounding The Last Jedi.
I think the studio got spooked by the online negativity.
I think the studio did, and I think this is her way of... I mean, I think it's kind of shitty that she's like putting it on him.
Yeah.
Instead of the studio, but I guess she doesn't want to like
burn that bridge.
The studio,
yeah.
But
whatever.
I don't know, man. I think it's so clear that it was
100%
the studio that didn't want him to come back after he made a divisive movie, although I think it's a masterpiece.
Right.
So I would love more Rian Johnson movies.
And then you can Colin Trevorrow with a new look and bring back J.J. Abrams, and somehow that's Rian Johnson getting spooked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So enraging.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
That's a weird one. Last but not least.
Actually, you know what?
Oh, what?
Never mind.
Okay.
You know what Filoni may actually want to pull back? You know what feels like a very Filoni movie? That Soderbergh movie.
What? Yeah. But let me get through this, and then there's a conversation I want to have with you.
Okay.
Last but not least, as far as upcoming projects, she was asked about the Simon Kinberg trilogy that was announced. Well-known Hollywood writer Simon Kinberg was tasked with writing a trilogy of Star Wars films. And she said this: he's working right now. He wrote something that we read in August, and it was very good, but not there. We've pretty much upended the story, and then spent a great deal of time on the treatment, which he finished literally about 4 weeks ago. And it's a very detailed treatment, like 70 pages. And so he is expected to give us something in March. I know that Dave and Lin-Wen are very much on board with what Simon's doing, and that would be a new trilogy. In the timeline of things, that takes you well into 2030 plus. So that's really what's up next. So I feel like she's not saying this officially, but I don't know. Based on this quote and other things I've read about the Simon Kinberg trilogy, I'm fairly sure that this is going to be episodes 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, and I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
It's one of those where I'm like, I hate it because of things I disliked in Rise of Skywalker, or do I hate the concept of it? I feel like when they said they should end the Skywalker trilogy, they should end the Skywalker saga. Yeah, they should end the Skywalker saga. Start something new. Do whatever you're doing. It can be a trilogy. I don't care. But like, you're right. It feels like they're pointing towards this continuing the Skywalker saga, not breaking new ground.
Well, I think that if you're making episodes 10, 11, and 12, it has to inherently be something other than the Skywalker saga, because those plot lines are gone. Like, they're all, like, for better for worse, besides Rey's new last name, those plot lines are over with. There's nothing really to continue with. So I think maybe it's a thing where, it's episode 10 because it has some returning characters that we know, but it's a new story. It's pretty much a new story moving forward.
Yep.
That's my guess. That's my guess as to how they're going to play it. But one of the reasons I'm fairly sure this is going to be episode 10, 11, and 12 is that they need, like, that's what Star Wars is, right? Star Wars is trilogy. Star Wars is episode. Star Wars is the fanfare and the crawl, and that's what it is. And they need to do that. Like, they need to get people back into theaters. They need people that want that kind of epic storytelling from Star Wars. That and you know, as many people are excited about Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's not going to be some epic mystical saga movie. It's going to be like a one-off fun adventure. And from what they're saying about Starfighter, that might be the same. So I think they need to kind of capture like the cinematic glory of Star Wars. And I think you do that by announcing episode 10. You know, that gets people that we thought they were done after Return of the Jedi. Then we thought they were done after Revenge of the Sith. Like, it's just another one of those. Like, they're just going to keep making these until
like the Ronco food dehydrator. But wait, there's more. I don't know. One thing that I thought about when you were talking about that I don't know if I've ever gotten your thoughts on, because I know where I stand on it. Rey's claiming the Skywalker name. Thoughts?
I think we have talked about it, but to me, that's one of those things that I think is a good idea, but I don't think they earned it within the movie. That's a lot of my problems with Rise of Skywalker, is that I think there's a lot of good ideas there that aren't earned.
Very much
because
so.
they're rushing to get to them.
Yep.
Because JJ had the idea and couldn't let it go, or had too many other ideas.
Right.
So they have to rush through everything else. I think if they made a different movie and spent more time, you know, if Carrie Fisher hadn't died, or they had substituted whatever her story was going to be with more Force Ghost Luke or whatever, and showing more of a bond between Rey and either Leia or Luke, then I think it would have made more sense for her to do that. I'm totally fine with her having that name, because I do like, it's not given to her. It's not bestowed upon her. It's not someone saying, this is what you will call yourself now. It's her choosing that. And like, if it was anything other than that, then it would bother me a little bit more. Like I said, I don't think they earned it, but I think my whole thing, you know, I didn't like the fact that she was revealed to be the granddaughter of Palpatine either, because that's something that is not her choice. Like, because I really like The Last Jedi of her, like, I'm just a nobody. I don't have a last name.
Right.
And finally, like, you know what? I am choosing to be who I am. I am following my own path. And I guess you could say that maybe she gets there because she realizes she's the granddaughter of ultimate evil, and no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go my own way. But you know, blah 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 blah.
Now,
I know I've already talked about it too much. That's how I felt. I think it was a good idea. It was unearned.
Let me pose something different to you.
Yeah.
And I've thought about this a couple of times. What if she'd have chosen the Solo last name?
Ooh.
Because I feel like her storyline with Ben and that reaction and her relationship with Leia and all that makes that much more earned than claiming the Skywalker lineage.
Yeah, you're right. It does. Based on what we saw, it makes more sense for her to have chosen Solo as a last name.
I think the last time I attempted that movie,
it makes a ton of sense for her to choose that as a last name.
Yeah.
She's like, even in that exchange that she has with that old woman, she's like, who are you? Or, you know, like, how many times, or not even that old woman, but how many times in that movie does she say, like, I don't have a family. It's just me. I'm just Rey. It's just me. It's just me. It's just me. I'm alone. Solo. That would have been great. That would have been great, Steve.
Last time I attempted to watch that movie, I think that came to my brain.
But also, I think would it have put in our minds that she was taking that last name because she was in love with Ben, and it would have been like, as if, you know, you're not around anymore, but I'm pretending that we're married or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it maybe would have been a little bit reductive, or could have been seen to be a bit reductive in that way.
I mean, it might have, but it was like, when you look at it, it was her first mentor in the movies. And then
I know. Yeah, for
like
sure.
every
That's why I think
progression
it's
had to deal with a Solo.
Yeah.
Luke just happened to be there in Luke was Yoda, and she was in the Solo story.
Right. Yeah. I know. I agree with all that.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense. But I think a lot of people, because they kiss at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
If they hadn't kissed, then I don't think it would be a problem. But because they kiss, I think people would have been like, oh, she's taking his name out of her true love for him. And it's like as if they're married. People would have been like, what? She doesn't need to be a wife. What the fuck's bullshit?
Right.
You know, like it would have been seen that way.
I think. Instead of the only father she ever had and the only mother she ever had.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Oh, that makes it even weirder that makes the kiss weirder.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she clearly loved Han.
Yeah.
And had a bond with him in the short amount of time they knew each other. And then she clearly had the bond with Ben is clear.
Yeah.
But like because of the kiss makes it seem romantic when I don't think it should have been romantic. If they hadn't kissed and she takes the name Solo, then I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. But the kiss makes me think that they shouldn't have done it.
See, and again, you go back to things they didn't earn in that movie. I don't think they earned where that went in any way, shape, or form, which is also one of the major problems I have.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go down that road because we'll be here for another hour.
True. So we got all these things that she talked about. I got to point this out real quick.
Okay.
The interviewer even at one point asked after she's done mentioning all these projects, he says, are there any other projects out there that the Star Wars fans will be mad at me for not remembering or not asking you about? And she says something like, I think you hit everything, you know. She does not mention Dave Filoni's movie.
Right.
And she does not mention the Rey movie, the Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy movie.
True.
Not anywhere in this article does she mention those two movies that were also announced the same time they announced the James Mangold movie.
And relatively recently, I believe she was quoted as saying that at least the Obaid-Chinoy movie was still moving.
Or Daisy Ridley has said that.
Yeah, one of them did. Yeah.
So, and I think there was some other in-depth interview with Kathleen Kennedy where she didn't mention that movie. So, like, is that movie just dead?
I hope not.
I mean, I hope not too. But also, you got to think like if the Kinberg trilogy really is episode 10,
right?
She's going to be in that, right? That's going to be her thing,
right? If that becomes the Rey trilogy, then you don't need the Rey standalone.
Yeah, or even if it's not a Rey trilogy, but like,
yeah,
I think it would be a huge mistake to not continue on with characters from the sequel trilogy, even though like, you know, like you can't not have Rey in that movie. You can't not have Rey be a part of that trilogy at all. You know,
I mean, unless John Boyega's your Jedi Master.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to bring somebody back. In order to call it episode 10, you got to bring some people back. Otherwise,
I just want to see Boyega back.
Like otherwise, it's just a new episode 1.
Yeah.
Or a new episode 4, whatever you want.
Oh, that would be so.
It would be great
if
they
awesome.
Started with.
If
the next one was episode 13, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
When are we getting episode 10? About 10 years from now.
That is the best thing that they could do, in my opinion, is to announce
that would be
episode
great.
13, 14, and 15.
Yeah.
God. That would rule. That would rule so hard. I hope they do that. Okay, Steve, here's the conversation that I want to have with you.
Hit me.
And I said something like this too because I read someone else pointed this out, and I thought it made a really good point, and we texted about it a little bit. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
We've talked about how many movies she has made, how successful of a producer she is. Clearly, Kathleen Kennedy, maybe the most powerful producer in Hollywood, definitely one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood.
Yeah.
A lot of people can be mad at her for not putting a Star Wars movie in theaters for 6 or 7 years or whatever, right? You could be like, if she's such a good producer, why haven't we gotten a new movie in the last 7 years?
Right.
You could also look at it like, what movies has she stopped from happening because they would have been bad or they weren't ready yet?
Right.
Like, how many times was Bob Iger be like, yo, you got to put a movie out? And she had enough power as a producer to say, no, we can't. We don't have one that's ready, and I'm not going to put out a shitty product again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like, you forced me to do this before. Shut up. We're going to figure this out.
Exactly. I think it's probably fair to say that Kathleen Kennedy has been able to protect the Star Wars brand from a Marvel Phase 4 through 6 style glut of stuff that is mediocre at best.
Right.
Um,
Point of order
I
on
don't
that.
want that.
There are many fans that may hear this that think that what got put out was a glut of mediocre content at best. So as far as we're just to make sure the Overton window is where it needs to be.
That is surely true. That people, you know, yeah, there's people that just don't like that Disney owns Star Wars at all.
Right.
And there's people that have genuine opinions of that. Of course. But okay, if you, if you look at Andor and you think that's mediocre, then imagine, or whatever, what's the worst thing? If you look at a Book of Boba Fett and you think that's the worst thing that Disney has done with the Star Wars brand, or Rise of Skywalker or whatever, and but then think about the things that she did not approve,
right,
that we could have gotten. You know what I mean? How much worse
100%.
could it have gotten is what I'm saying. Dave Filoni does not nearly have the power in Hollywood
no
that Kathleen Kennedy still has.
And neither does Lin-Manuel Brennan.
Be able to say, what's that?
I said neither does Lin-Manuel Brennan. Like,
neither does Lin-Manuel Brennan.
On her side, she has a phenomenal resume, but she's been at Lucasfilm, working on that side of things since 1999.
Yeah, right. So neither of them have the power to say no to Bob Iger like that, or whoever's going to be the CEO of Disney soon. I think they're announcing a replacement shortly. But if Disney's like, yo, we need a movie for Christmas 2027, make one. And they can say, sorry, we don't have anything. And they can say, I don't care. Make one. You don't have the power to say no to me. You didn't produce E.T. or Schindler's List. Why am I listening to you? Oh, what did you do? Star Wars Rebels? I've never heard of that show. So make me a movie, Dave Filoni. That's going to, you know, and like, I know that thought makes me a little anxious about the future of Star Wars. Now, I like a lot of the stuff Dave Filoni has done, but I guess I'm a little nervous. At the same, like, that's all I got to say. I guess I'm a little nervous that we may end up getting, it may turn into Marvel, where it's too much. And a lot of it is just meh. Okay. And not only is it meh, but we're getting meh twice a year.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I get it. And I think that is a very legitimate concern. Like, we have a relatively green when it comes to this level of, corporate. I guess
He's
that's the other thing.
Movie.
Right. He's never made a movie. And, like, from a corporate side, you get to that level and you can get chewed up pretty quick.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yes, he's the chief creative guy. And Dave's had some great ideas, but there is also a major criticism of a lot of the stuff he's done. In the sense that, like, he, for one, won't let any of his characters die.
Yeah.
And for two, just favors his stuff over anything, even canon.
That's kind of what I'm part of the reason. Like I said, I like a lot of his stuff, but like I feel like he's really good at his stuff.
Yeah.
And
interweaving pieces of it, but living in his own part of that world.
Yes. Yeah. How long before we get an Ahsoka movie announced?
Yeah.
He's going to shelve everything else and just next up is Ahsoka, the movie. I wouldn't say no to an Ahsoka movie, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And like what you were saying earlier, you made your reference to, Jim Boeheim retiring and the new guy getting squashed. Like, there's a lot of people out there, like we were talking about, the people that just hate Kathleen Kennedy for no reason, that just say like, oh, I'm so glad she's gone. I'm so glad she's gone. are you gonna give grace to Dave Filoni, or are you just gonna judge him as harshly as you were judging Kathleen Kennedy out of the box? You know what I mean? Are you gonna
Yep.
give him an opportunity to prove himself, or is it just gonna be like one strike and you're out for Dave Filoni?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, what's the next thing Dave Filoni is gonna and Lin-Manuel Brennan are gonna greenlight? What's the next project? But I guess this trilogy seems like it's going to be the next thing. But...
So Travis in the chat brings up something good. Brings up a good point. He brings up a couple things that are good.
What's up, Travis?
He says,
Thanks for
thankfully with Filoni, there was that close relationship with Lucas. I believe he knows what Star Wars is at its heart and would sacrifice his personal ambitions to maintain it. I agree with that sentiment, with the caveat of what we've been talking about, where his characters seem to trump all. Where Filoni seems to be best is where he can create that separate story in the universe, which is, I believe, we've talked about it multiple times, of the branching out into other things. Like, if he can use that little piece of what he's got going to maybe greenlight something that's unique but doesn't cull the fan base, like maybe we're onto something there.
Has Dave Filoni ever done a Star Wars project that wasn't no, he hasn't. I was gonna say, has Dave Filoni ever done a Star Wars project that wasn't taking place between two other Star Wars projects? It was like existed in the timeline. Like, he's never made a new thing, right? Because only the movies are the new things. Movies progress the timeline,
right? Because Resistance was part of it. Was like tied into TFA and Last Jedi, I believe, right?
Yeah. So I guess that's the challenge for him now, right? Because he's very good at, like you said, kind of working in, okay, I'll take post Return of the Jedi and I'll work with Jon Favreau and create, well, he's a Mandalorian, so he looks like this, but there's still stormtroopers and, whatever. Right. Or, yeah, I got this success with animation. I'm just going to kind of fold that into what we're doing with these live action TV shows. And he's never made a movie, but now he has to make a movie. So I hope that he's able to rise to that challenge, kind of like Travis was saying, like, leave the characters he created for TV, great, stay in TV. Now I have to maybe, he seems, Kennedy says that Dave and Lin-Manuel are very on board with what Simon Kinberg is doing. So, like, he's clearly already working with Simon Kinberg, giving him ideas. Is he able to think outside of his own characters and the storylines that are close to his heart, and help this trilogy be something new, or a step towards something new, and not be like, how can we get Ahsoka into this, Simon Kinberg?
Yeah. Well, and that's like, Travis brought up another solid point. Dave mentioned that when we hear Ahsoka in Rise of Skywalker, it doesn't mean she's dead necessarily. And that he thinks that he knows her story leading up to that moment and is, partly working to push that.
I think that's probably true. And I've thought that too, because...
Also, if she's still alive, then does she just sit out any conflict? She just shows up in between major conflicts? Yeah. Like, what is she doing? She magically leaves on the space whale right before the things need to happen, and then comes back right after.
Hey, I love... No, the space whale thing happens after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
So... we don't know how long she's in that other galaxy for. I guess we'll find out maybe in season 2.
Yep.
Listen. I love Ahsoka Tano.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ahsoka Tano. But the her being in everything,
right,
is making me ask that question.
Yeah.
And the more he keeps putting her after things, is more like, okay, well then what was she doing?
Right.
And, like, if you want to tell us what she's doing, if Ahsoka season 3 is why didn't she help take down Starkiller Base with the Resistance?
Yeah.
Great. I'll watch that series. Where was she during the second, Galactic War or whatever? Great. I forgot the point that I was making. But I like what Travis was saying. I hope that he is able to put down his own toys and start building some new ones, or working with some other people on some new things.
Right.
I hope he's able to do that.
Is going to be playing with his toys, he needs to find someone that can go and play in another sandbox to keep people interested.
Yeah, right. So do we think? I mean, Kennedy says that would be the new trilogy, take us up into 2030 plus. So that's really what's up next. So she's saying that after Starfighter, it seems like we're going to probably get an announcement of a new trilogy. But between now and then, right? When is Celebration? Next year?
27 in LA.
27 for the 50th, right? In LA.
Yep.
So maybe before that, but definitely at Celebration, I think they're going to announce a new trilogy.
Yeah. And I wonder
if not before. If not like Comic-Con.
I guess if they're going to do that, I'm pretty sure they would, yes, the announcement would be cool, but the announcement with like, if they already have brought in a full treatment on, the first one or whatever, and have thought about like if they had someone cast, or, if it was Rey or Boyega or Isaac, like someone that is going to be in the movie and is actually cast as it, I think that would hit hard at Celebration.
Well, it hit hard when just Daisy Ridley came out. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when for that movie that's probably not going to happen now. That hit hard, but it would be really great if, whether for Celebration or Comic-Con or whatever, they could be like, here's the cast of Star Wars Episode 10.
Yeah.
The blah, 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 blah. And it's Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Oscar Isaac and, then a bunch of new people or whatever,
Yeah. Do you think Oscar Isaac would reprise his role?
Did I not send this to you? He was on a red carpet recently. Well, a couple things. He said recently he was asked about returning to Star Wars, and he said, yeah, maybe if the story was good, not so crazy about working with Disney right now. Maybe if they do the right thing and stand up to fascism, then I'll go back and talk to him. But, so he said that a couple months ago. And then just this past week, I thought I sent it to you on Instagram, but I know you're never on Instagram, so maybe you didn't see it. But somebody asked him on a red carpet, did you read the script, or what did you think about the Steven Soderbergh, Adam Driver Hunt for Ben Solo movie? And he responded, he said, he just starts shaking his head, goes, why would you ask me that question? You can't ask me that question. Why? How could you even ask me that? And the interview goes, you were in it, weren't you? You were in it. He goes, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. How could you ask me that question? And like walked away.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So I was like, oh, he was in that movie.
Yep.
He was in that movie.
God damn.
So I think he is likely to return as Poe. Boyega, I think, is still a question mark. But I think you throw enough money his way, he'll come back. You convince him.
Oh yeah.
Come back. So my other question for you, Steve.
Okay.
Besides the Simon Kinberg trilogy.
Yep.
What do we think? What do we think is next? What do we think is going to be the first thing that is announced from Filoni and I keep forgetting the name, Brennan. And is it going to be one of these things? Is it going to be the Lando movie from Donald Glover? Is it going to be the Taika Waititi? Do those things get shelved completely? Is Filoni and Brennan, are they the type of people that'll be like, we're starting totally fresh. We're going to do the new trilogy, but anything that has been announced is not happening anymore. And the two of us are going to make the decisions from now on. Or do they honor this deal with Donald Glover? Does that move forward? I would love to see a Lando movie. I would love to see a Lando movie.
I think.
But
what do you got?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I would love for these things to happen, just because I'm interested in them. But I guess I don't know. Sometimes you get a new boss and their first thing is to be like, we're not doing this anymore. I'm in charge now. Or
we got to do this completely new thing that makes zero sense.
Yeah.
I personally think that damn. I thought I had a thought and then I immediately thought myself out of it.
It's hard to answer this question because we don't really know. He could announce anything. He could be working on something right now that we just don't know. All we really know is that 2 of them are on the back burner and 2 of them are still alive, but still are question mark.
I think even if they want to start fresh, those 2 seem like they're unique enough movies that there's really no need to shelf like a Donald Glover take on Lando and a Taika Waititi movie set in the Star Wars universe. Like, they're in their own kind of vein. I don't think I don't think they would need necessarily to shelve them. So, maybe that Lando movie.
I would think that the Lando movie has a better shot, simply because it is a legacy character that fans care about. Like, but then you could say like, well, they didn't care about the Han Solo movie. No one went to see that. Right. So why would they care about this? And she does say in this interview, everything that she lists is a chance. None of the filmmakers are just trying to do the same old, and the studios are nervous about it. So is this a situation where if the studios are nervous about the Taika movie and the Glover movie, do they just tell Filoni, you're not making either of these? Give me something else. And he's unable to say no because he doesn't have the power that Kathleen Kennedy had. See what I'm saying? Like,
it's going to be a weird dynamic.
It's going to be a weird dynamic. And I hope the stuff that we get, my guess is that we're going to start getting more stuff announced and we're going to get more of a Marvel. They're going to try to beef up production of Star Wars stuff. That's my guess. Because Kathleen's not there to be able to say no or to be able to wait till the script is right or whatever. I think we're going to get more. And I don't know. I don't think they're going to start off with something that could be considered risky. Like, I can't imagine that the first thing is going to be like, here's a wacky Star Wars comedy from Taika Waititi. Like, that seems too out of the box, too bold. They're the James Mangold movie, despite it being thousands of years in the past, is apparently too breaky the mold to get made.
Right.
So I don't know, man.
Jojo the Rabbit in space, or Jojo Rabbit in space.
I don't know. Thor Ragnarok not in space.
Mm.
Thor Ragnarok in Nazi Germany. They just switched Jojo Rabbit and Thor.
What the hell was the movie? Was it Next Goal Wins? Did you ever see that?
No.
They made about the Fijian soccer team.
Yeah.
Weirdly good. I mean, it's
cool. I know it
fit very. I mean, it was definitely a Taika Waititi movie. But better than I expected it to be. Let's put it that way.
Nice. Cool.
And Fassbender is still great.
Did you have anything else on the Star Wars stuff, Kathleen Kennedy stuff?
I did not.
All right. Me either. But speaking of things that I thought were better than I expected, fourth teaser for Avengers Doomsday was officially released this week. This is the final one, right, that we're getting? I believe we're getting a full trailer for the Super Bowl.
I didn't know if I thought I had heard there was going to be a fifth one of these involving Doom.
Oh, you're right. I had heard that too.
Yeah.
Okay. But I haven't heard or seen anything from that. Is that not playing yet? Or maybe that's going to be in it.
Maybe this.
One that's going to be.
It might be one that goes into theaters this week because they had run the past two for at least a week, sometimes two. So we'll see.
Yeah. Are people going back to the theaters just to watch these 1-minute trailers and then
I'm thinking no
through 3 hours of Avatar?
I guess judging by that statement, you didn't see Avatar either.
No.
Yeah.
I haven't. I didn't even see this. I haven't even seen the second one, so I can't go to see that until I watch the second one. But.
The second one was Avatar 2.
Yeah, I know. I think I just got to suck it up and watch it just to have seen it.
Part of me actually had this idea the other day, and I think my son's probably, perfectly fine watching it. I think the only way I'll rewatch them, or probably watch this third one, is if he watches the first one and becomes enamored with it or something and wants to see the next couple. So,
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Anyway, fourth teaser for Avengers Doomsday featured some Wakandans, some Atlanteans, and actually they don't call it Atlantis in the MCU. They call it something else. I forgot.
No,
I remember they specifically don't call it Atlantis in Wakanda Forever. They call it something else because it was like because Aquaman had already come out and had Atlantis.
He's the king of Atlantis.
No, I know he's the king of Atlantis, but I think in the MCU specifically, in like Wakanda.
Oh, in the MCU. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I remember it wasn't Atlantis. Anyway, talking way too much about this. Namor. We see Namor in this trilogy, and we also see the Thing. We see Wakandans. We see the Thing from Fantastic Four fame, and we see some underwater people under Namor. And the coolest thing about this trailer, I gotta say this is probably my favorite one for Avengers Doomsday. And the X-Men one was cool, but like I'm so not excited about the Fox X-Men returning that I'm just like, okay, fine. This was a teaser for this movie featuring characters I expect to be in this movie, and I was excited. It was the most excited that I think I've been, honestly. It was cool. Like anytime I felt the same thing when I saw that Eyes of Wakanda animated show. I was like, oh yeah, I fucking love Wakanda. Yeah. I love the Black Panther world.
Yep.
Marvel should do way more Black Panther stuff, animated or TV, or I know, they got thrown a loop when Boseman passed away.
Right. For anyone
probably would have had more.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, go watch Eyes of Wakanda. It's really good.
Eyes of Wakanda is great. Yeah. And so just like seeing Shuri and M'Baku walking in the desert, I was like, this is dope. Love the Wakandans. Amazing. This is great. And coolest thing about it is we learned that M'Baku is the new king of Wakanda. That's not something we knew by the end of Wakanda Forever, is it?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. We had Queen Ramonda gets killed in that one, but I don't think they ever announced a new ruler, or maybe I'm forgetting because I haven't seen Wakanda Forever in a long time. So, and he introduces himself to the Thing, who was in the desert for no reason. We don't know why. But
the chat's got our back on this one. The city in the MCU is Talokan. Which definitively is not what it was in the comics. But and then also Travis mentioned, that was from X Punisher. Travis mentions that we see Namor's kingdom not in the water anymore.
Okay, thank you. I was just about to ask this because they refer to Namor as a king. He's sitting on a throne, and all his people are wearing like water masks. And I was like, I know he can breathe out of the water, but like, why isn't his throne in the water? And I didn't even think about that. I was just like, is he trying to take over Wakanda? Is this something that he has done?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he has taken over Wakanda. And I guess that's what I thought. I was like, maybe he's sitting on the throne of Wakanda and M'Baku and Shuri are out in the desert because they've been exiled or whatever. But
yeah, and outside of the fact there was the Mayan ruins in the back, or Central American-ish ruins in the background.
Right. Yeah. So is this a thing where the ocean has dried up?
I do not know.
Could be. Very interesting. Yeah, I like this trailer, and I like that it's all, the connection between Black Panther and Namor and the Fantastic Four is pretty strong in the comics.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool that they were all kind of represented in this one trailer. It was very old school Marvel in my brain. I was like, oh, all these characters have great connections. It's cool that they're kind of in the same chunk of this movie, at least for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on the Avengers Doomsday trailer? I feel like I just talked too much about it.
You went on for a bit, but I don't really have a ton outside of Eben Moss-Backrack is still great as Ben Grimm. Like, just in that little clip, Yancey Street, like, I don't know. There's just, it feels right for Ben, like the way he portrays him.
Yeah.
So,
I should. I gotta watch Fantastic Four again, for sure. Continuing my MCU watch with my son, we got up through Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay.
As of yesterday.
Now, does Age of Ultron hold up to my thoughts of it not being as bad a movie as most people portray it to be?
I think this time, honestly, I liked it less than I've ever liked it.
Really?
I was a big defender of Age of Ultron when it came out, and for a long time. And I think it's got a lot of really great ideas, and some of those ideas it executes really well. And then other times it's just like kind of trying too hard. Like Ultron is a weird pick. It's hard to sell Ultron. And they probably do
like
as best a job as they could have done. But like, there's a lot of great character stuff. The party at the beginning and all trying to lift the hammer is great. And the whole idea of creating vision like that, like through Ultron and putting the Mind Stone in his head and having him lift the hammer in order to prove to the gang that he's trustworthy, like all that is great. Like that's really good setup and execution kind of stuff. But everything else around it is kind of like busy, and I kept having to explain things to my son, like, okay, he's got to go to here to do this, and then, because this is what this means, and it's not as streamlined as the
relatively
Avengers.
Convoluted.
Yeah. And there's a lot of CGI punching in it. It's where you meet Wanda.
Right.
So that's like notable in general, and there's a lot of good stuff too.
And Pietro.
But he just doesn't stick around, so I didn't include him. But like it's still good.
Yeah,
it's good, and I still probably like it more than most, but it's
all right.
It's the weakest Avengers movie. But
I'm
with you on liking it for sure.
Yeah. It was definitely not a cinematic masterpiece, but it was better than people gave it credit for.
Yep. And we also watched earlier in the weekend Guardians of the Galaxy, which I was very excited to show my son. And goddamn, is that not a home run? What a movie that is.
Yeah.
That really hit for me watching it this time. And it's never not been good.
Yeah.
But it's just like, this is one of my favorites of the whole franchise. I think it's so great.
I think, I had one of those viewings last year where I saw it and I was like, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just
real good.
Tip to tail, great movie.
Yeah. It's cool doing more or less a full rewatch because I can organize. I'm moving around my rankings on Letterboxd after everyone. Like, no, that should go down a little bit, or no, that's definitely
Yeah.
Feel like a little film connoisseur. Steve, are you reviewing a comic this week? I still am not.
No, I believe both of us are out of commission because of the lack of Funky Town.
Very, very true. But like we said earlier, they may be opening up their Camillus location again back to normal for tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. And if that's true, if that works out, then you may be able to find the following books at Funky Town or wherever your local comics are sold. Alien vs. Captain America, number 3. Amazing Spider-Man, number 20. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 47. Black Panther, Intergalactic, Planetary, Intergalactic, number 2. Captain America, number 6. Catwoman, number 83. Daredevil, Punisher, Devil's Trigger, number 3. Exquisite Corpses, number 9. Fantastic Four, number 7. Hulk, Smash Everything, number 2. I Hate Fairyland, 47. Inglorious X-Force, number 1. Mortal Thor, number 6. New Avengers, number 8. Nightwing, 134. Planet She-Hulk, number 3. Rogue, number 1. Spider-Man, Wolverine, number 9. Star Wars, number 9. Superman Unlimited, number 9. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 3. Titans, 31. Ultimate Black Panther, number 24. Wiccan, The Witch's Road, number 2. Wonder Woman, number 29. And X-Men, 24. Lots of big names this week in your local comic book store. I'm not sure that I'm pulling any of the. I'm not pulling any of them. I don't know if I'm going to be picking up any of these necessarily.
I have one pull.
What do you got?
Well, technically, I have 0 pulls. My son requested that I put the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on his pull list because I picked him up the number 1 one time a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "This is really good."
He's into it.
I was like, "All right, well, we'll do it." So
cool.
His pull list consists of Batman and Scooby-Doo that's currently out of print.
Yeah.
Saturday Morning Adventures for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
Actually,
You're
his
raising
pull
them
list
right, Steve.
might be as long as mine right now.
Yeah. You're raising them right.
I think we're both doing good, Mike. We're both doing pretty solid.
We're doing our best. I'm always down. X-Force can be a pretty great book. I don't know who the new team is, but number one, that could be worth looking into.
All right, I got to look that up now because the team really does make it with.
It really makes it with X-Force, I think. I mean, it makes it with any kind of X team. You always get excited about a new team.
The Helverine.
Oh.
Which is Dakin. Archangel.
Okay.
Boom Boom. And Cable.
Oh, small team, only 4.
Yeah.
Classic Cable.
I mean,
Archangel's been there before too, but yeah, interesting. Interesting squad.
I might just have to pick it up because it's a weird team.
Just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see. Yeah. Cool.
Damn. There is a.
Ooh, what?
Oh, who's the artist on that? Is that a? Yes, that is a Clayton Crane. There's a beautiful Clayton Crane Archangel.
Ooh.
Yeah, like full blown Age of Apocalypse or like Horseman of Apocalypse Archangel. That's.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not gonna end up getting that one at 50, but there's definitely one that looks like it. That's a B cover.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Close enough. No.
Still looks pretty.
I think that's all I got, Steve. I don't know. I don't think I read anything this week to really discuss. So
no, I explicitly put out the new Batman run and the first book of the Invincible series and have not touched either.
Ooh, haven't gotten to it yet.
Nope. Did that whole thing where I like put them out to make sure I saw them and grab them when I sat down. Yeah, no, didn't happen at all.
Yeah, that just leads to a big pile of books right in the way of everything. For me, anyway.
You absolutely nailed it, sir. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's all I got. You got anything else, or we could?
No.
I guess say goodbye.
I'd say we tell people to like and subscribe and check us out. We're normally live Sundays, sometimes Mondays. Less likely to be Tuesdays, but
Yeah.
Check us out. If you subscribe, you'll find out what that day is.
That's right. Big shout out, despite being a Tuesday, big shout out to the people in the chat that are hanging out with us, helping us remember things that we can't remember off the top of our heads. Hope you're around. Yeah, like Steve said, usually Sundays and Mondays is when we normally do this. Scheduling may vary, but appreciate you sticking around. And until next time, as the 2 suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Baru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.